Hi, everybody. This is Kathy L. Murphy, and I am live outside the Robert R. Muntz Library at the University of Texas in Tyler, where I'm going to graduate school. And I have a fellow student that used to go here with me today, author Marjorie Lewis. She will tell you the story, but she is an author of a book that is going to film. You won't believe it, but we have a lot to say. So first, tell them your little connection with UT Tyler.
Yeah, I lived in East Texas for 1 year. And in the spring of that 1 year, I decided to go to grad school. So I started at UT Tyler and I really loved it. But
Go
then we moved back.
Patriots!
Yeah, then we moved back to the Dallas Fort Worth area and I finished at UT Arlington. But yes, I had that parking sticker, UT Tyler, and I loved it there.
They now don't even have the stickers anymore. They have some kind of little enter you in and they drive by and hit your tag on your car. So
Oh,
we don't even have
okay.
them anymore. Just started this semester. But anyway,
Well,
we're
I
here
like the
today.
stickers because it made you feel, excited about your alma mater, your school. You could look at it when you're driving. It's right there in the corner.
Well, I love it here, and I am so excited that it was raining this morning, so that's why I have on the hat. But we're here today to talk about many things. But first, before we even get started, tell them a little bit about your book that's going to film. And of course, I don't have it with me, or I'd be pulling it out to show everybody.
Yeah.
When the men were gone,
Oh, here, I have a copy right here.
yeah,
Okay.
hold it up and tell
Okay.
everybody.
Yes,
Yay!
there it is. Tylene Wilson. It's based on a true story of a woman who coached football in Brownwood, Texas during World War II. And the story is really a lot about her journey and what it was like for a woman to take over a football team in the 1940s.
And she did an excellent job. So
She
it
sure
is.
did. And she actually coached, the book is just a short time frame about her journey to becoming the coach, but she did coach for about from 42 through 46
Wow.
and at different levels, also a middle school, a high school, a college. She loved it and she actually told her family that she would have continued, but the men came back, thankfully. And then she you know, well,
Went on with her life. Went
and
on
went
with her
on with
life
her
as
life.
we
Yes, she
all
didn't have that
do.
opportunity for very
But
long.
I've been told that this is the year of the woman because more women are getting roles in films and
Mhm.
getting more, even in art history. We just had a
Right.
wonderful documentary we watched on Hilma Clint and a artist from Sweden that was just amazing, ahead of her time. But you're ahead of your time too, because you have broken a lot of glass ceilings, Marjorie. And I've only known you for 6 years, even though we've been kind of skimming by each other here and there. But you used to cover the Dallas Cowboy beat.
That's
And I
true.
mean, what was that like?
Well, it was new. I didn't find out till many years later that Tom Landry actually spoke to the team for over 15 minutes to tell them, guess what? We're going to have a female that will be coming in our locker rooms now and covering stories and all this kind of thing. So he kind of put his thumbprint on how the organization would react to me. And it was very professional. Everybody was really wonderful. I never had any embarrassing moments. And it was just as difficult for me as it was for the guys when people were having a bad game and they didn't want to talk or anything else. They treated me the same way, but I always felt like they were very aware of making sure there were no embarrassing moments for anybody. And so I was very appreciative of that.
Well, you're such a giver, and I don't know anybody in the world. You're kind of like Julie Cantrell, another one of my authors.
Yeah, I
I
love
don't know
it.
anybody who just absolutely love you to pieces. You are just the kindest, most
Oh,
generous souling in and out. And actually, I guess we're getting
thank
some
you,
kind of
Kathy.
front coming in. So thank you for coming back. But today we're here to talk about a lot of things, and you've got some stories for it, some pay it forward stories. And that is so important to me right now because as I take my International Public Queens and Timber Guys book club into our 25th anniversary year, I'm
Wow.
doing a brand name change because it's time after 25 years for me to put my name on it. So it's going to be Kathy L. Murphy, Big Book Love. So many of our books have gone to film, and I posted about it, and you said, I've got to pay it forward story. So I said, let's do a Zoom. So let's
Mhm.
hear all about it.
Yeah, I actually have a few, but here's the one I was referring to when I mentioned that on our conversation. So a couple of years ago, my sister and I, my sister Judy, we were in Santa Fe, New Mexico. That's where Judy lives, and that's our hometown. And I went back to
I love
visit.
it.
Oh, I love it too. And one of our favorite restaurants is called The Shed, and it's right off the plaza, a little bit
Okay.
closer toward the big cathedral. It's in the of the governor's building, an old historic building. It's not
Oh,
like
I know where it is. I know exactly
yeah.
where it is. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a parking lot behind the shed that's used for a couple of restaurants. So my sister and I drive in, and the parking attendant asks us, what are we going to do? And she gives us our ticket. We said we're going to go eat at the shed, and she goes, "Oh, I love it, my favorite." So then we said, "Well, we'll bring you a lunch. What's your favorite meal, and we'll bring it to you." And she was like, "What? No way." And we're like, "Yeah, sure. What would you like?" And I
I love
know
it.
at first she refused, but we told her, "You're going to be sitting here in the attendance booth all day. You probably haven't had lunch." And she said, "No." And we said, "Just tell us." So finally she said, "Okay, this is my favorite meal." And so my sister and I went, and we're having lunch. And then when we were getting ready to leave, we asked the guy, we would like to order, but we looked at the menu and there were two things that sounded like she liked, and we couldn't tell which one was the one she was describing. So we're like, oh. So we asked the waiter, "Do you happen to know the parking attendant? She mentioned a meal and we want to get it right." And he says, "Yeah, I know her. She comes here all the time. I know which meal she's talking about." So we order it and we get it, and then we get our bill, and he comped it. He comped that meal for her. So when he came back, we said, "Well, wait a minute, you didn't charge us for her meal." And then he said, "No, I want to just give it to her." And so we were like, "Oh, okay." So then we gave him an extra large tip that actually covered the meal that he wanted to get to her. So then we take it to her, and then we tell her that he comped it for her and that we wanted to buy her lunch, but we didn't get to because he comped it for her, but we hope she enjoys her meal. And then she gives us free parking. So in the end of the day, she gets a free meal. The guy gets an extra size tip. We get free parking. Everybody was paying it forward, and she felt great because she could give us a free parking. We felt great because we could give that guy an extra big tip. He felt great because he could give her a free meal. I mean, it was just the way that it just kept snowballing was just so incredible and fun.
It's, these are the stories that I love to share. And all of the authors that I pick have stories within their story about things like this, things that are life affirming, that make you understand if we quit worrying so much about me, and
Right.
start worrying about, being a good citizen, being in
Yes.
service to others. And, if you quite frankly think about it, the people that make our lives the easiest are the garbage people. I mean, what
Oh,
if we had to
yeah,
do our
yeah.
own garbage?
Yes, yes.
The
People that
people, the
do
park,
hard jobs that we don't always think about, but really make a difference in our lives.
they
Yes.
do. They make a huge difference. And that reminds me of, I run into Target to one late at night to get coffee because I won't mention the coffee shop, but they said they were out of coffee. And I said, "What do
Oh,
you mean?" They go, "Well, we turn off the machines an hour before we close." And I go, "Then close."
yeah,
They go, "You're a
exactly.
coffee shop,
Uh-huh.
And so they said, "Well, there's one in the Target." So we ran over to the Target to get one, and they were closed.
Oh,
And I go, "This is the craziest thing." So I don't know what we ended up doing, but we were going through the line and we picked up maybe something to drink, and this woman was just you could tell she was just exhausted. And she said, I worked a double shift today and I didn't have lunch. I said, what do
Oh,
you mean you didn't have lunch? She goes, all I can think about is the Target brownies and some, it was like Mountain Dew. And I
uh-huh.
go, what? And she goes, something to keep me going. I'm about to crash here. So I was walking out the door with my friend and I said, you know what? Wait a minute. I went back and I bought a big deal of brownies and a big jug of Mountain Dew. And I went back to her and I said, here, this is for you. And she goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, you still got another hour to go.
Yeah,
Oh my God. She goes, you saved me. But we when you do that, what you receive in return is the light in her. She just couldn't believe it. And
right.
I'm sure
Yes,
that
I
woman,
know.
the parking attendant, couldn't either. But what's another story you have?
Well, here's another one.
What's another
I have a
one you
few.
might
So I'll tell you this other one that I just thought of
okay, you
now.
tell them.
I just thought of it now hearing your story. It wasn't the one I was going to tell next, but I'll tell you this one now. So I was
Okay.
in my car and I was at an intersection and the light turned green. So the car in front of me started to go through, make a left turn in an intersection, but just then another car ran the red light and almost hit the woman in front of me. I mean, it was so close and it would have been horrible because the car that ran the red light was coming at extremely high rate of speed. So the car in front of me made a left turn and I was making a left turn too. So then shortly after we were heading the same direction, she turned into like a quick trip 7-Eleven type of convenience store. So I thought I'm going to go in there and I'm going to buy her food. And so she goes in and I go in with behind her and I went up to her and I said, I almost saw you got hit by at that intersection. And she was like, oh, I was so scared. And I know she was wearing scrubs. So I said, are you a doctor or a nurse? And she said, I'm a nurse and I'm on my way to my shift. And I said, well, you know what? I am so happy that you're alive. It could have just wiped you out at that moment that we're going to celebrate and I'm going to buy you anything that you came in here to buy. And she was just shocked, because I'm in a total stranger that almost saw her get wiped out in the intersection, wanted to celebrate that she was alive. And at first she's
Oh,
like, no, you don't have to do that. And that's what I've noticed a lot when people pay it forward. The recipients almost always say, no, no, you don't have to do that. But you want to do that. That woman could have been killed in that moment. And I was so grateful that she stopped and was able to go to the hospital and do her shift and think of all the people who she made a difference in their lives that day. And for me to go in and buy her sandwich and what she was buying was nothing compared to what she must have done the rest of her day.
my gosh, that is the coolest story ever. So what was the one you were going to tell?
Okay, so the one that I was going to tell is so it's a funny story. So my parents dropped me off at college at Arizona State, and I was going to go through sorority rush. So they dropped me off a week or 2 weeks before school started. And then they left, and I'm looking out the window, and the members of my family were driving back. And, there's seven of us, mom and dad, five kids, and I'm on the sixth floor of this dorm, and I'm watching them drive down the street. And I was so lonely. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know anybody here. I am all alone, and my family just left me in another state. They're heading back to a different state. So I decided, well, I could sit here and wallow in self-pity, or I can go downstairs and make friends. So I went down to the lobby and I saw a circle of about six girls talking to each other in a circle. And of course, I didn't know who they were, but
Right.
I walked up to them and I said, does anybody want to go get lunch? And they turned around and looked at me and they said, yeah, let's go to the Chuck Box. It's a hamburger joint near the campus. So we all just started walking to the Chuck Box and we're just chit-chatting. And where are you from? And I'm from Missouri and I'm from Hawaii and I'm from, we were from all different places. And the one from Kansas City and I ended up in line at the Chuck Box together. So we're standing there. She's about to order her burger, and I notice a hot dog on the menu. And I turned to her and I said, A hot dog sounds good. I haven't had a hot dog in a long time. And for some reason, I just kept going about this hot dog. I haven't had a hot dog in so long. Why haven't I had a hot dog? It's been so long. That sounds good. I think I'm going to get a hot dog. And I just kept going on and on about it. So, we get our food, we sit down, I take a bite into my hot dog, and I look at her and I go, "Oh, I remember now why I haven't had a hot dog." And she said, "Why?" And I said, "I don't like hot dogs." And and she just died laughing. Okay, so here's the pay it forward story. 30 years ago, 30 years later, we had a sorority reunion. And she and I have been friends the rest of our lives. And so we decide to reenact that scene.
Oh
So
no.
she and I go to the chuck box and she's in front of me and she orders her
It's still
hamburger.
there.
And then
It's still
I
there.
start, yeah, it's still there, looks exactly the same, nothing's changed. And and I start saying, "Oh, why haven't I had a hot dog?" And I go in through my whole spiel about a hot dog and then I order a hot dog. And then when we get to the line to go pay, um, we get to the cash register and the woman says, "Your food has been paid for." And we're like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, that man over there paid for your meal." And we looked at each other and we looked at the man, never seen him before, had and had no idea why he paid. So we go up to him and we ask him, we said, "Thank you for buying our meals, but why?" And he said, "Because you two walked in and you looked like the best of friends and you're laughing and having a wonderful time. And it just made my day. And I just wanted to treat you for that." So we looked at each other and we're like, okay, we're like 50 years old now and we get our food paid for. But when we were poor college students that were 18 and
Really?
nobody's paying for our hot dogs. So it just made us feel really good that somebody was touched by the way that we were reacting to each other and having such a good time that he paid for our meal and we never met him, never saw him again. It was just very sweet.
That is the coolest story. Sometimes I think things happen like somebody opens a door for you or and they'll wait until you walk all the way up there to keep it open. I
Yes.
always
Mhm.
say, now there's a gentleman or there's a lady or there's
Yes. Yes.
there's somebody
Very
kind or
thoughtful. Mhm.
but it's it happens a lot on the campus here. I mean, just like I went over to they're putting in a brand new Starbucks at the library. It's supposed to be opening any minute,
Mhm.
but they don't have another one except over in the business building. So I'd invited a colleague of mine to go have coffee, and we went over there, and I pulled out my billfold, and he goes, "No, no, no, I'll get the coffee." And I go, "No, I invited you. You." He said, "No, I'll get it." We're standing there, and this woman behind the counter looks up. She goes, "Kathy," and I look at her, and it was another. She works at another Starbucks on campus, and another friend of mine. She goes, "I I've got your coffee today." And I
Oh,
said,
that's
"No, you
sweet.
can't get our
Yeah.
coffee." And she goes, "Well, I will." And I
Mhm.
was just thinking, that's pretty amazing. So on the way home, I stop and get another coffee because I got a bunch of homework at another coffee place across the counter, on the loop. And I
Yeah.
pulled through and I said, "Yes, I'd like the largest black coffee with a little cream, no sugar." Immediately. And I hear someone go, "Kathy?" And I go, "Yeah, is there a camera here? Who am I talking to?" And she goes,
Uh-huh.
"It's me, Olive." And it was Olive is a friend of mine that comes into Hangers of Hope that likes to buy rings like me. I
Yeah.
said, "Olive, how did," she goes, "You have a very distinctive voice."
Oh, she
I
knew.
drive through there all the time. And she goes, "Hi, Kathy." And I went to the window last time to get my coffee, and three girls pop up and they go, "There's our girl." And I'm telling
I
you,
love it. That's great.
they're kids, they're at college age. But, life is too short not to make everything a joy.
I know.
And
So true.
do you have any other stories to share with us that you can think of?
Well, one, I was at a drive-through and there were cars coming from this angle and from this angle. It was a real busy time to get into the drive-through line. So, a few cars didn't let me in, and that's okay. But one truck, it looked like they were like a construction, they were maybe on a lunch break or something. They
Yeah,
let me in. There were other cars behind me too. There were two lines, but this one truck, um, there were two men in the car. They looked like they were taking a lunch break from a very hard type of outdoor job. And so they let me in. I waved and I said thank you. And then when I got to the window, I told them I was going to pay for them, and that I didn't want them to tell them I was paying for it until I drove off, because I didn't want. I
yeah,
sometimes you just don't want people to know who it was, and
right.
I just said, don't tell them. I don't want anybody to thank me, because if I'm still in line, they'll probably come thank me and everything. And you don't do that to be thanked. You
No.
just do it to so they could wonder all day who was the person who did that. And I just thought, they probably had a very, very hard job, and it's hard to be in Texas in the heat and
Oh, yeah.
working outside and everything. So it feels good, when you can do something like that for somebody. I was a little bummed though, because they didn't really order a whole lot. So, I almost threw in a couple of desserts, but
A big drink probably did the
yeah, they
best
had
thing.
really, really big drinks. Yeah, and maybe a couple of tacos or something.
You
Yeah,
too, Tyler.
yeah, really very cool. So, how
Oh,
about
that's
you
so
though?
sweet.
Are there any others too that you can share?
Well, something happens here all the time. It seems like every other day. But I want to share probably the most giving story that I can think of that where somebody paid it forward. And it didn't happen here on campus. It happened at a girlfriend weekend. I had lost my dearest friend, Twana Anderson Neal.
Oh, yeah.
And, it was the next year, and I knew it was going to be hard because she always ran the check in table and
Hmm.
everything. But we had set up a scholarship for people to make a donation to help pay for somebody to come to our annual book club convention. And it was you, Marjorie. I think you were the first one to step up and say, I want to sponsor an author, somebody who can't come. And, you know, I I try to disregard any kind of things that are hurtful or mean and kind of look the other way or forgive them. But I really pay attention to the people that are kind. And and it wasn't cheap. I mean, you spent a lot of money. And so somebody was able to come to our girlfriend weekend. I think we had that year close to a dozen that were sponsored to come, and these were authors that couldn't have ever afforded to come because
Yeah,
you have to travel into Texas and all this stuff.
right.
So
Hmm.
but what struck me even more is you came back the next year and said, I want to do it again. And you were the only one.
Mm.
And I will never forget it. And you are, as far as if I could do a little photoshopping, I'd have a little glowing halo over your head because you're our Texas angel.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
Because but I want to focus on people like you, Marjorie, and you tell everybody about your family because you have an incredible family and you've had some losses. So just tell us a little bit about your personal life.
Well, I've been so fortunate to have the parents that I had. They both passed away in 21, 6 months apart. My father on their wedding anniversary, 6 months after my mom passed away. And they just had a beautiful, wonderful life together. And they were so good to the five of us. One of the best things I have ever been told in my whole life is from my children. And they said to me, Mom, you are the second best mom in the whole world. And I said, Of course, my mom is
Oh,
number one and nobody will ever pass her. And they said, I'm sorry, Mom, but your mom is just like, there's no one in the world that could ever be better than your mom. And I'm like, I have tried my whole life to be at least close to her because she was so wonderful. And to be the second best mom in the world to my mom being first, there's no better compliment, because I know I could try my whole life to be like my mom and I'd still fall short. And the same I would say with my father. My parents were just so wonderful. They put their children above everything. They gave to society, they gave their time, they gave their money. When they had family members or siblings or something that needed something, they were always there. They were wonderful role models, and they raised five children, and all five of us are so close. After they both passed away, we used to always spend Christmas together in Santa Fe, New Mexico at their home. All five kids
Oh,
would come back with our spouses and all our children.
that's
And
wonderful.
we just could not get enough of being with our parents. And when they passed away, we hadn't sold their house yet. And so we wanted to have one more Christmas all together. And the five, all of us came together with our children, our families, and we had one more Christmas in their home. And, we just told stories about them, shared pictures. I mean, my parents, I could not have been more fortunate. I just am so blessed to have been born to mom and dad.
Well, I'm hearing a lot about generational heritage of family ancestors, how it affects your life. And I did not quite come from the same kind of family situation, but what I learned, and I don't know, I probably from my grandparents and everybody in my family worked really hard.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
mean, I admired, we had a strong work ethic and we were honest people, but
Mhm.
my parents didn't get along.
Oh,
So when I hear stories like yours, I just really, it's so wonderful. And so I knew that when I had my two daughters, there wasn't anything I wasn't going to do for them because I got asked, the Texas Country Reporter, don't you? You know who he
sure.
is,
Mhm.
Bob Phillips.
Oh, yes.
He interviewed me for the show and he said, "What is the one thing that you want to be most remembered by you when you die?" I thought, oh my God, I felt like I was on Barbara Walters. And it really made me tear up. And I said, the first thing that comes to mind is I hope I be remembered as being a good mother. And he was shocked because he thought it would be, running the book club
Uh-huh.
and promoting literacy. And I'm proud of all those things, but it's our children that matter the
Yes.
most in the world to me. And now you have more additions to your family, right?
Yes. Well, okay. I have two daughters. My husband and I have been married so far for 43 years.
That's amazing.
And yeah, and we have two daughters in their mid 30s, and they have both grown up to be very giving and loving individuals.
I believe
My,
it.
my oldest is a nurse practitioner, and she was working in family medicine when she saw the kind of health care my parents were getting when they were in their 80s and 90s, and to the very end of their lives. And so she at that time decided, I'm going to work with the elderly so that I could give families the kind of comfort and care that I saw given to my grandparents. So she moved into being a like a geriatric
Right.
nurse practitioner, and works with older people, and she loves her work, but every now and then we get a call when she's crying because, of course, if you're working with older people, they're not going to live for another, 30 years. So when some of her patients pass away, she takes it very hard because she loves them all and so giving. And then my younger daughter is a teacher, is a third grade teacher for children with learning disabilities.
Oh my
And
gosh. Good
yeah.
job, Mom.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. And my husband, he's always been a fantastic husband and father. And so that's what what they have made their life's work. And they are just, I'm so proud of them. I just can't even tell you how proud. There are no words. They're just incredible people. And my older one is married and now has a 20-month old son. And
Oh, yeah. They
oh,
grow up in a blink of the eye because
yeah,
my grandson's now started kindergarten. I go, oh my God, I can't
I
believe
know.
it.
I
So
know it's
I'm
crazy.
so excited for you. And he's
Yeah.
so cute. I've seen pictures, so
Oh,
cute.
he
So
is so cute. He is so cute. I
you
can
don't have
say
to
that, but he what?
You'll have to share a photo on the Kathy L. Murphy Big Book webpage.
Yes,
I'll
okay, I
post it
will. He
because,
is so cute, and I wish that I could take some credit for his cuteness in our family genetics, but he was adopted and it's an open adoption, and he has spent time also with the birth mother, and so it's he's going to know he's loved by all every family that, and he we just love him so much, and he's just a great kid and the cutest and smartest and just wonderful.
so this will be the second Christmas then for him.
This will be the second Christmas for him. Yes. Mhm.
Oh boy! Now that you're not meeting at your parents' house, will it be at yours?
Well, actually, though, we still go to Santa Fe. We just, yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's
it
home.
brings us closer to if we feel like we're closer to my parents when we're there. And so last year we had Christmas in Tulsa, Oklahoma, because that's where they live, my
Yeah.
daughter's family. But we all just feel like, no, Santa Fe is where we spend Christmas. We're, the kind of family that takes flowers to the gravesite, and we go do that, and
And it's so beautiful. I used to go there all the time at Christmas break because my friends went to the University of New Mexico and
oh,
we would
okay.
go to Santa Fe. So I've been to seen the church and the staircase built by,
Yes, yes.
I've been
Mhm.
to the museums and all the different places. And I have now three authors, including two that are from New Mexico. And so
Okay.
I really didn't even recognize that until one day I was talking to you and I realized I've got three authors from New Mexico. I
Mhm.
wonder if I have every state represented. I'm gonna have to work on that. But
Uh-huh.
I know your film is in progress. Where are we standing now? Have they cast
Well, I think
the
they're very
lead for the?
close. They haven't officially cast the lead yet, but I wish I were at liberty to say something because I'm kind of bursting here. But it looks like we might be pretty close to getting the lead. So once that does happen, though, I'll let everybody know. I'll let you know. I'll be so excited. I just can't wait, because the producers are just doing such a fantastic job of working this whole project and bringing it along. And so once we have the the person who's going to play Tylene, I think things will move even faster.
Well, I told you that when this happens and they have a premiere, I hopefully they'll have it in Dallas. That I'm coming. I'm going to figure out a way we can get a
Oh,
group
that'd
of
be
people
wonderful.
and go to the premiere because my father went to Emporia State Teachers College, and it's now Emporia State. But he wanted to be a coach so bad. But all of his life, he was a football fanatic. OU was his team. It
Uh-huh.
was a college football, real big on the NFL, but he loved the Sooners, and so I'm sure he's watching over in heaven and thinking, "Oh my gosh, Kathy's going to a movie about a woman football." It would make him
Oh,
laugh, I'm sure, because he goes, "Boy, have times changed since," because he's been gone for some time. But
God.
yeah, he lived and breathed the Sooners. So
The
this
Sooners.
would be
Uh-huh.
exciting, and it'll probably be next year. You think sometime next year
That's what I
in
think they're
2000?
targeting. Yes. So,
Well,
I
let me
just
know.
can't
I'm
wait.
hoping that I will ask off from class so I can go to that because I'm so proud of you and it's such a remarkable
Thank
story.
you.
I know you're working on another book and I would love for it to come out in 2025 because I'm picking my list right now.
Are you? Hmm.
Yes, I am. So if you think it might be coming
It's
out around
probably
that.
26 because I'm a little slow because I've been going to school like you. And
Yes, and tell
so,
everybody about that. I mean, look how much schooling you've got. You're a lifelong learner too. So
well,
how
I love going to school. I
me
love the
too.
community. I love being around students, fellow students. I teach at the University of North Texas, so I love to be around students that are younger and they make me feel younger and I learn all kinds of things from them. And then I like to be around fellow students that are of various ages. Most of them, of course, younger than I am. That
They're,
doesn't take
they're
much.
all younger than me. They
They're
call
all younger,
they
but
call me
there's a
mom and
few.
cat on campus. There's not
Yeah.
any, I don't think there's anybody as old as me on campus,
Yeah, I
but
feel that way whenever I'm on campus, but I have a couple of friends that are only 10 years younger than I am, and they keep saying, well, since we're the same age, and I'm like, okay, you're not catching up to me. I'm going back to you. So that if we're the same age, I'm 10 years younger. You're not 10 years older.
that's
But
right.
yeah, so I'm finishing up. I think will be my last degree. It's my fourth advanced degree. I finished up a doctorate earlier this year, and then in December I finished up my third master's degree, and then I'll be teaching. And I got hired to teach at the Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law. Yeah, at Arizona State. To teach master's degree students that are pursuing the degree that I'm finishing up, and
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
excited about.
congratulations. Has this been announced?
I'm sorry, you broke up a little. I didn't catch that.
Has this been announced? Has this been officially announced, or are we the first to hear it?
No, I hope I'm not speaking too soon. But uh, I'll be graduating in December, and then probably starting it in the fall or possibly in the summer. But yeah, but I've already
So are you
gone through.
moving to Arizona? Are you going to move?
No, they have a ground program and an online program. And so I'm going to teach on the online program.
And what is the degree in?
It's a
It's
Master
for
of Legal
master's.
Studies. Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
Marjorie,
So I'm excited.
you're going to be the poster child for being a lifelong learner because you're the most now. You know, that's it. I want to travel a little bit, but I might go back for another one because a lot of people don't know this, but in Texas, if you go to a Texas university, you're the after 65, your tuition is exempt. You don't
Right.
have to
Yes.
pay tuition
Yeah.
for
And you can take
undergraduate,
up to six
master's.
credit hours a semester.
You
hmm
can take up to nine.
Oh, is it
Nine.
9? Oh, okay. I thought it was
Nine.
6.
Because nine for me is full time as a graduate student. So, yeah, you still have to pay the fees and books and
Right.
parking, but you know
Yeah.
what? Uh, it's it's really it keeps you young. It keeps you fit because I'm running everywhere with everybody, and I got it. Somebody said, "Why don't you come work out with us at the gym?" I go, "Okay, let's
hmm
don't go too far."
Yeah.
I'm not a spring chicken, but uh, you know, you never know. You,
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit
you,
there, so I can't tell what you're saying. You might have to repeat yourself. Sorry. Looks like we lost Kathy for a little bit, but I bet she's figured out a way to get back on. And so she'll probably be rejoining us here any second.
oh, we're back. Are you
Ah,
here?
here we are. I knew you'd be back in a flash.
Well, I thought it's kind of looking like it's going to storm, so it may have something to do with it. But I just wanted you to part with some last words of advice to people out there about a life well lived. Do you want to share some nice
Well,
little tidbits?
I'll share a tidbit that I shared with my daughter, my oldest daughter, when she was in about fourth grade. She came home one day from school and told me she had a bad day. And I said, why? And she said, I don't know. I just felt like I didn't, people weren't nice. And I just felt like it was just a hard day. And I said, well, you know what? I want you to try this. Tomorrow, I want you to take charge of your day. I want you, every time you make eye contact with somebody, I want you to smile at them, and you're going to make them feel better, and you're going to feel better too. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to make eye contact with people, and I want you to smile, because that's going to make for a totally, totally different day. She came home from school the next day, and she said, Mom, I just had a great day. And I said, what? She goes, people were smiling all over, and everybody felt kind, and everybody felt nice. And she said, it does make a difference to look at somebody and smile at them. And that changes their day, it changes your day, it changes everybody's day. And so, that would be, I guess, my thing to finish off with is just smile at people, because everybody needs to see a face. Look at you, Kathy. You're making me feel better just looking at you right now. And a
Well,
smile goes a long way for both the giver and the receiver.
well, everybody says, "What? You're just glowing these days." And I go, "I'm just really happy about being able to go back to school." I mean, I was home during COVID and
Yeah.
dealing with diabetes and all kinds of horrible things, and I I just tackled that head on, and look at me now. I'm in better shape than I've been in probably 15 years,
Well,
and I'm just
wonderful.
going like crazy. And but it's people like you, Marjorie, that inspire me, and your book, and really your whole persona is just you're just an angel on earth. That's what you are.
Well, you're too kind,
You're
but
just
I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Kathy.
no, I don't say things unless I mean it. I can't thank you for coming back twice to do this, but I hope
Huh?
everybody watches this. And I just want to close. I feel like I'm on Sunday morning. I want everybody to look here behind me at this beautiful waterfall feature. And it's just beautiful. I'm sitting out here at the University of Texas in Tyler, and behind me here is the library of where right
I'm very
now
familiar with that library too.
I have 19 of my paintings on exhibition at the library.
Oh,
So I'm like,
wonderful. Oh,
it's the highest honor that could have been given to me while I'm here. So
that's
thank
fantastic.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Keep me posted on when you get this next degree, and we'll have another shout out. Okay.
Okay.
Now just have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we'll be watching for the movie news.
Well, thank
Okay.
you,
I'll be.
Kathy. You have a wonderful week too. It's always nice talking with you.
Well, it's all about the story. And as Marjorie Lewis said, let's pay it forward, folks. So we'll see you next time.
All right.
Check out our Kathy L. Murphy Book Love channel. Bye, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye, Marjorie.
you. Bye bye.